lessons from the pandemic or ways to grow and ways to learn for the life that we look forward to post the pandemic. The last few months have been very tough for all of us, and possibly the last, tougher than how the last whole of 1.5 year has been. We're back again today with a topic that a lot of you asked us to take up. Many of you wrote to us post workshops asking for us to take up how do we sort of get back to life post the pandemic and once things sort of get back to normal. And if you did follow us on our social media pages, we also wrote out asking people to share their questions and share their thoughts in terms of what they want us to cover. So today, as part of this discussion, we're bringing Dr. Rajiv Anand, a senior psychiatrist and psychotherapist, myself, Rashi Laskari, counseling psychologist, as well as Gauri Chaturvedi, who is also a counselor in training. We've received a lot of questions, so we've just tried to separate them through 3 or 4 sessions because we want to focus on small group sessions with focus questions and take them up for all of you.
Let me give the background. First of all, I really genuinely feel that every one of us, whosoever in whichever part of the city or the country is listening to this program, deserves congratulations for surviving the most difficult, most trying, most challenging time in the human civilization at such a global level. And since most people have survived, you deserve compliment, you deserve a pat on your back for having found inner reserve, inner resolve, inner strength, also inner light, which could guide you. Inner light happened to be the logo or name of our organization. So you could get so much from inside, which could guide you and sail you through. 10 years from now or 5 years from now, we all would look back this difficult time and we would look back with so much of surprise. How did we survive and what did we learn? That post-COVID time, post-pandemic time, are we going to be much stronger and better and happier? I keep the perspective, yes. Every day, every one of us in our counseling center, me also, are getting inundated by endless number of calls, SMSs, inquiring about various aspects of human life on day-to-day basis. We genuinely feel concerned that we can't address to every query. People are genuinely disturbed, not only in Bombay, different part of the city, since we have clients in different part of the city, in different part of the country, as well as many others in other countries. So people ask questions. So we thought of this method. Let us address. So we shall be having 4 sessions. First is today. We shall be addressing those frequently, commonly asked questions, so that you can get an answer in one go. So this is our support. This is our endeavor as a mental health professional, that we can extend whatever we can to you to help ease your life. Over to you, Rashi.
Yes, doctor, very rightly said. I mean, as a center over the last 2 months, I think, April, May onwards, since the second wave hit, we've noticed for the emotional tolerance of people to kind of, be a lot more shaken than it was over the last year and a half. And the endeavor with a session and a program like this is not just to address the audience who's watching us live on the Zoom session, but is also to kind of record this and put it on YouTube and put it on our social media channels. So we can just make the commonly addressed queries, commonly addressed questions reach a larger audience. So for those of you who are watching us right now, this session would be saved, so you can also have your friends and family watch this at a later point. I'm going to jump right into taking some questions that have come to us right now. And I'm also going to encourage our audience to write to us if they have any questions during the course of the session. The first thing that I have noticed, our ways of interacting and relating with people has changed 360 degree over the last year and a half, from meeting them, taking meeting and physical interactions and giving a hug to your friend and all of those things. We almost took that for granted, and all of that is now sort of stalled. And some people, I'm actually merging two questions here, because some people have written to us this question in different languages in different forms, but the underlying meaning that is coming out is that many people are coming forward with a possible fear or a doubt that will we be able to go back to how we used to be. Some people who've been, maybe they've been an introvert, they're finding this very comfortable to say, oh, now I can't visualize myself going back to physical meetings, going back to talking to a audience. I'm so happy behind the screen, I can just be off, I don't have to meet anybody. Whereas some others are talking about apprehensions with hum kar payenge kya, will we be able to meet, will I be able to deal with so much, or am I comfortable here? So this fear that I am sensing with social interactions, a sense of doubt, a sense of worry that will I be able to go back? This is a question that has come to us from a few people. Doctor, I'd like your view on this. What is your observation
Not
of this?
not just few. In fact, I have been hearing this question very often, at least 5-6 times in a day for the last few months. And these questions are coming largely from the urban area or from metropolitan city, where people in general, even earlier, have been living in isolation in the respective flats, with the walls separating them from neighbors. This problem is little less in the rural area, a little less in the suburban areas or in the smaller cities, 2-tier and 3-tier. First, let me explain that much more than this pandemic of virus is the most bigger virus or most difficult virus is the loneliness epidemic. Loneliness virus. We all have been facing it earlier. Last 15 months have made it more intense, more acute. None of us were prepared to have this kind of loneliness, confined to the home, only on phone. You can't meet your neighbor, you can't invite your cousins, you can't invite your brothers, sisters. Now, this has affected each one of us emotionally. And each one of us is finding a very big question before us. Will we ever get back to the same life? I have an answer. This is not the first time the social distress or social unrest has happened to this magnitude. In the past, there have been events, whether caused by riots or caused by explosion, bomb explosion, or caused by any other major upheaval in the society or political crisis. We all have undergone that tumultuous time. And when it was happening, we all worried about it. What after this? But trust me, the human intelligence, the power of human intelligence, the power of human will, the capacity which each one of us do carry inherently within us is far more than our doubts and our fears and our misgivings. Because all the doubts and the misgivings come from a very narrow perspective. Lonelier we become, more fearsome we become, more worried people. We need people to connect to, we need people to help us, we need people to nourish us emotionally. And like fish in the water, when the fish would get back to the water, fish wouldn't have to ask permission for anyone. Fish, like same way, the fish would easily get into the water. Like the bird, if you release from a cage, bird would just fly off. Bird would not look back. Similarly, each one of us is going to go into that space, a social space. You have a lot inside you to fly back into that space very soon. So be happy, be smiling, and take as things are coming before you. Over to you.
Yes, I agree with that actually, because even through our sessions, for different reasons, people are coming up with this worry, and I say the same thing, that while we thought it was impossible to adapt to this. Remember, April or May, everybody spoke of new normal, new normal. How will we adapt to it? But we came around it, which talks about our resilience, which talks about our adaptability. Now, what we are trying to adapt to is something that we possibly have been for the longer part of our lives, right? We have been social, we have been interacting with people. So, for the most part of our life, we have done something. It's only about us going back to being able to do that now onwards. So, I don't think that there should be a doubt. That's one aspect. The second aspect also here is that systematically, everybody is worrying about it, thinking that it's all going to be sudden, but as a matter of fact, it's not. Going back to work, going back to school, going back to our routines, systematically we will sensitize ourselves to it, and I don't think that there should be this worry. Protecting ourselves from COVID, it's still clear how we keep ourselves safe, but protecting ourselves from the virus of fear is the bigger challenge, because fear as a virus is contagiously spreading. Everybody is talking about it. We are sharing it. If one person in the family is thinking about something, the other person is most definitely influenced to it. So most of us have gotten habituated to worrying or fearing something. So if it's the COVID, then that. When we move past that, now we have started to fear, will I be able to go back to work? Will I be able to go back to life? So I think there is a need to just become a little bit aware of that. That am I just fearing something, or is it really that I will not be able to do it? If I feel like I won't be able to do it, then how can I sensitize myself? How can I prepare myself? I have time. There's no rush. There's ample space and window to kind of adapt to it systematically. So I think that's my response to that. And if anybody feels that they're going through any form of a anxiousness related to like social interactions, then please reach out for guidance and professional help that can help you to break those barriers if at all you feel like it's something you can't cope with independently. Moving to our second question, which is actually very specific to the topic that we are taking up, Dr. Anand. This question is about how is the pandemic helping us, in the sense of what residue should we take back or take out of this experience. I'm just going to pick on a few statements, reading them out from the questions that have come up, which is that willing or unwillingly, we've managed stress in our own ways, and we've gone through tough times and dealt with it in healthy, unhealthy ways. But the pandemic may have made us tolerant, and what lessons should we take out of it? So a few people have asked us these questions, which is that what stress management methods or what lessons can we take from the pandemic, that whether we are in a external situation like that or not, that we should still continue to apply, that we should still continue to carry with us from this experience.
Actually, 1.5 year, nobody was prepared that this thing will be, expanding so vast. Initially, when it started hitting other neighboring nations, we were not considering that, it's gonna impact our country also that badly, and the entire world will be impacted. So though it has given definitely more of bad memories than good lessons, but yes, we have come so far without knowing that this thing will be so massive. It will be like much more than many of the other calamities the world has faced. But we have come so far. So, slowly, things will improve, and we have no choice then to take it positively. That's what we have to condition in all the people who have survived it through. Because right now the pain, your pain is not more than mine, my pain is not less than yours. Here, the entire world is suffering with the same pain. So the issue is same everywhere. So it's up to us. Each person has to take a stance or take a responsibility of being positive towards every other being. That's how we can create a strong belief system that nothing has lasted forever. So this will also not last. And good lessons also we should carry, like we have learned that we can manage with very basic things also. So since life is so unpredictable, definitely you do what you want to do in your capability, but it is not so important to be so materialistic, because COVID has taught the world that we can live on very minimal things, we can survive. And yes, health, exercise, people have mental health, to take care of the mental health as we take care of the physical
Physical
health.
First time in the lifetime, we realize what is essential, what is non-essential in our life, in our house, in our kitchen, in our cupboard, in every space, in every area, in our social circle. What was really required and what was not required. We all had given undue importance to the car, to the fancy clothes, to the brands, to the malls, to the fine dining, to many things, to many people whom we spend a lot of time with. But we realize the people who matter to us in this hour, in the last 15 months, have been the closest ones, the nearest and dearest ones, the family members. Maybe we were not used to spending so much of time with them, so at times mild skirmishes might have happened in some families, not in all. We all have acknowledgeably, commendably lived together for last 15 months, and credit to each one of us. In the traditional Indian society, we are the most tolerant, most accepting, most appreciating people to each other. There are very many positive lessons. Purpose of this program, purpose of this kind of webinar is this: let's open our eyes wide. Let's expand our hearts more and see those lessons and share those lessons as we are doing it. We are doing it with you, you do it with others. Back to you,
Yeah.
Rashi.
I think the one thing that stood out to me from both of your responses, Gauri, is also that we need to introspect and look at our lives, our last year, year and a half, and identify what that has been for me, right? Very rightly said, Doctor, that the Indian culture is maybe one uh, culture across the globe that really lives together as a family, right? Where more than five people, adults, live together, and not that everybody is sort of living independently in their own houses, or kids may not have necessarily moved out, which possibly may have made the pandemic and the lockdowns more difficult for our people as compared to others. So the lessons start from that, from my acceptance of my family members, of the importance of what is really the necessity, what are things that we can survive on and find our happiness in the smaller ways. Health factor, as Gauri mentioned, being able to prioritize physical as well as emotional health with as much importance, which was probably never experienced by people, majority of the people, to this extent. People earlier just saw it as a mental health concern, but not as a fact that I need to take care of my mental health irrespective, because it's impacting my day to day or impacting my physical health, for that matter. So I just feel like uh, this is important to address, very important to
See,
address, that we take. Yes, doctor.
let me add over here, mental health have often been misunderstood word by millions of people, as if those who have mental problems, they need to talk about mental health. Let me simplify for each one of us listening over here. If I put aside the word mental health, if I say emotional health, if I'm at ease with myself, if I'm at peace with myself, if I'm comfortable within, if I'm doing whatever I'm supposed to do and I'm happy doing whatever I'm supposed to do, then the immediate environment around me would be at peace, would be at ease, would be comfortable, and I shall help many others around me to live peacefully, to live joyfully, to live respectfully. This is the sense of mental health. So
Yeah.
I usually do not get affected by all the messages which come on WhatsApp. I really forward them, which could create panic to others. I do not want to be affected by the newspaper news. I don't talk about it or about the news on the television channel, because let me not be a transmitter of the virus of fear. The mental health begins with taking care of your own peace, ease, comfort, joyfulness. You would indirectly be helping 10 others around. Back to you.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the point, right? Moving to the next question, which is about a very specific age group. And I really do completely empathize with this, which is about students and teenagers. We feel like every age group and every segment of the population has had their own challenges, very unique. But students more specifically have been fighting a silent battle. Yes. So the question that's coming in is that what is your view, Gauri, of how teenagers have been impacted through the pandemic, and how can they prepare themselves to get out of it?
She herself has two teenagers.
As I said, I would love to answer about it. So yes, actually, like Rashi, you said, so every phase has a different challenges. But for teenagers, the adolescents anyways have more challenges given a normal scenario of the world, right?
Hmm.
Their hormones are changing. So anyways, their study part right now only they feel the because of hormones they want to sleep the most, but they have their 10th when they're teenager, they have their 12th when they're teenagers. And this COVID issue has impacted. It's been a first of a kind experience for people who are living in their 90s. So imagine about the kids who have just starting the transformation of being
Child.
from they're transforming from a child towards adulthood. So anyways, the world was confusing to them, and now it is actually we should consider it because it is taking definitely a blow on them, their health. They are not physically that active. We are missing socializing. They are kids, they meet, they love to meet their friends, interact with them every day.
All teenagers or all kids need three basic things. They need freedom of their own. They need friends, their peer group, and they need fun activity. Freedom, friends, and fun. And all three have been constraints. There are constraints. There's a compactness in all three in the last 15 months or so. Let us reassure our teenage friends, whether our children or grandchildren, we would help them redefine it. Friends will not disappear because friends also need us. We also need them. Freedom will never leave us. We have learned to use in a better way. And there are plenty of fun activities which we have learned to do it at home, and we would be continuing doing it thereafter.
So what they are, their life, the precious time of their life is at halt. Nobody can return them this beautiful phase age of their lifetime of 1.5 years, which is lost. They are at halt. They don't know if they are willing to, they were prepared to go abroad. Now they don't know how long. Their competitions. So we carry a big responsibility to shift our focus, a lot of focus for this young generation also, how to keep them revived and how to keep them motivated that this too shall pass.
Yeah, I think so. I think that both of your responses are relevant to the point that to help them understand that, to motivate them, to encourage them about being able to see their potential and the possibility of what lies ahead, and to give them as parents or as caregivers, to give them a lot of reassurance that the brighter side of things is ahead. And yes, this is a phase that is, it seems very frustrating for them, but as a family, whatever we can do to ease this process out for them is what we should focus on. For somebody who asked us about how to prepare them, or what they should take back, I think the same lessons as we are as adults, right? It doesn't matter, I may be 40, I may be 20, but what I'm going through because of the pandemic is more or less the same as for a parent, as for a child, at some level. So as parents, maybe just extend your lessons, your learnings, your experiences with your child, and grow together from there. When I hope that we're able to, we are getting some responses in the chat window, and I hope that we're able to answer the questions to our audiences who are asking this. But these are some ideas that we have as professionals in terms of lessons from the pandemic and takeaways. And please do feel free to leave in the comments what your lesson has been, right? So drop us a response in the comment about what's been your key takeaway, because what you write as your lesson and your learning is most definitely going to be an idea and be something to be grateful for 5 other people to read it. And that's such a wonderful thing to kind of roll, that I learned I share that with you, and it makes you realize that so did you, and your lesson may help me. So I think that's a great thing that we can also do. Please leave a comment about what has been your takeaway and your lesson.